Hi, my name is Chelsea Judd, and for the second career option that I looked up, that I researched an adoption agency specialist. And one of the organizations that I found here in Arizona, I live in Arizona, that I researched was called Arizona Adoption Help, basically an adoption agency. And a contact that I found was actually an Arizona adoption attorney. So she worked for the company and helped legalize adoption for kids and families. And what I liked about her and the way this organization was set up was they were very open to contact. They had personal emails and personal phone numbers put up on the website for anybody to use, and it was really informative. They were really open to helping anybody. So what does an adoption specialist do? Basically, it's kind of self-explanatory. They help with adoptions. They help families adopt kids, and they also help the birth parents who are trying to give up their kids for adoption or thinking about it anyways. They try and help them through the process. They let them know how the process works, how long it's going to take. They help with all the legal issues, making sure the receiving family of the child is able to take care of it, things like that. So they oversee pending adoptions, and like I said, helping parents to adopt a child or give up a child, either way. They Some of the different positions in this kind of setting include a birth mother advocate, which means trying to fight for rights for the birth mother. Also, an adoption advocate, which is kind of a very similar thing to an adoption specialist. Consulting, counseling, or there was also a hotline counselor available as well for people and families to use. So the working environment for an adoption agency, the size of the workplace can just kind of depend on the size of the adoption agency. The one I looked up was pretty big. It was used all throughout Arizona. Typical work hours, they ask you to be very flexible, but most of the time you're going to be working, 8 or 9 hours a day, just like a normal business day. Um, in this kind of environment, they really are looking for people who are really friendly, uplifting, supportive to all the family members involved, understanding about people's circumstances, just because of the kind of issues that families are coming into, and the different environments that people are coming from, and things like that. They ask that you are understanding. Another thing that they were looking for in employees was creativity, helping to create a really cool environment where people can come in, feel comfortable, feel like they are in safe hands with either giving their child up for adoption, or that when they're adopting a child, they feel like the child is well cared for. They also ask that the environment be very calm at the same time, people there who are good listeners and, like I said, understanding. The goal, basically, for the environment is to create a really safe, comfortable environment for all family members who are undergoing this really big change in their life. Most of the time, the workplace I saw is to be considered very social. It's a very open place for people to come for help with their questions, problems, things like that, concerns about adoption. But at the same time, the environment is supposed to be non-competitive. There's really no one's trying to win a race or competition. It's all about trying to help get the kids a family, and so everyone's working on the same team. And then the last characteristic of the work environment I thought was interesting was autonomy, which means making your own decisions. They train the adoption specialists, and then they expect you to make your own choices to determine if the family is ready to adopt a child or if they're responsible enough, things like that. Some of the stressors of being an adoption specialist at an adoption agency, there's a really big burden and responsibility that comes with trying to match families and kids together, and building that relationship and making sure that you put the kids in a good family where they're going to be taken care of and all will go well. Also, it's a lot of work building relationships between the staff, and employees and the families, getting them to trust you and trust your judgment. especially for the birth mothers and families who need to give their kids up for adoption. They need to be able to trust the agency they're using. Other stressors could include making your own decisions, like I was mentioning earlier, feeling the need to always be really creative and interactive, social. If that's something you're not naturally good at or you don't naturally feel sociable, you'll have to learn how to do that, which could be a little stressful. And then also just the kind of burden that you feel when you're trying to help a family give their child up for adoption. It's got to be very hard for them as well. Some of the benefits that come from the job of working with an adoption agency. Some companies do promise, or they do promote bonuses, so they do encourage people to do well and build those relationships. A lot of times they have flexible hours. They ask that people are open to working different shifts, but they're accommodating. And then a lot of places I read about had full health, dental, and vision insurance, and then sick and vacation leave as well. And then as far as the education goes, in order to work for an adoption agency, if you're just going for a position like an office manager or an assistant, an administrative assistant, you might only need an associate's degree. That might be it. If you wanted to go for a higher position like a director or administrator of the agency, you'll need a bachelor's degree or a professional certificate. Some of the common degrees they mentioned was marriage and family therapy, which is similar to what we're studying. Public health or social work were some of the top ones that these people have gone for. And then the higher administrators will also need, they might also need a clinical license if they're practicing therapy, counseling, things like that. And those licenses are regulated by the state. A starting average salary was about $41,000 roughly, and then someone who's really experienced might earn more, like $60,000 or so. So that's basically all the information about my career that I learned. Something else was that this field is expected to grow quite a bit, between 15 to 20% growth coming up. So lots of good opportunities to get involved. I hope you enjoyed learning about this. Thank you.